So if I were to guess which is your port of entry to Cape Town, I'll say the Cape Town International Airport. So chances are if you are literally flying in, that's exactly where you land. Cape Town actually does have two airports. One is a military airport called Yesterplaat, and then the other one is the Cape Town International Airport. From the moment you land at Cape Town International Airport, you will see basically how efficient this airport is. So I can actually bet you is that this is actually will be one of the fastest airports basically when it comes to processing time, so that you have more than enough time to enjoy the city. So Cape Town International Airport is actually one terminal which is divided into two. So you have your international side on your right hand side, and then you also have your domestic side on the left hand side. So as you're walking out of the plane, the first thing obviously you're going to see when you walk through the jet bridges is actually you will see the beautiful bird that you actually just came in. And if you look onto your left hand side, actually you'll notice more local airlines, which will be your smaller aircraft that you might see. So some of for airplane enthusiasts actually, some of the planes that you might notice a lot in Cape Town basically is the Boeing 737 and also the Airbus A320 variants. Respectively, and you might also see one or two actually one of the Embraers also flying locally. And then if you look onto the international side, the vast majority of the planes that are actually here will be your Airbus A350, your Boeing 777, and also you'll find your Boeing 787. And then on very rare cases, you might actually find that Lufthansa is operating their Airbus A340 to Cape Town. The nice thing about Cape Town is that as you're walking down the passage, if you're lucky actually, you might look over onto your left hand side where you might see some of your family members already waiting for you inside the airport. So, which is great. And then as you go down the escalators, actually the first thing that obviously you meet with any other country that you come into will be basically your passport control and customs. So once you get through this process, it's actually quite fairly nice and easy. And especially if you are South African or you have South African residency, the process is even much faster, like any other country that you visit. And then from there on, you actually go to baggage claims. And then from baggage claims, actually you get to, obviously it's freedom, and you get to walk out onto the main foyer of the international side of the airport. And from there, you might meet your family members, if you have family members or friends around in Cape Town. But if you don't worry, this is where I am. I'll help you navigate around the airport. One thing again you'll notice that something actually that most people might miss is that the moment you walk out of this foyer, as you can see on this clip, Cape Town gives you a little bit of like hints basically of what to expect while you're in the city, which for me I think is very unique to actually Cape Town International Airport. For example, if you look onto your left hand side, you'll see some granite outcrops, some rocks out there. Basically every beach that you visit in Cape Town, these are some of the iconic rocks formations that you actually might see. And then you'll also see that there's this colorful houses, and those are actually they represent Boekap, which is also will be in one of the future episodes of this channel basically, because Boekap is actually one of those places that have a very rich history in Cape Town. Not only it's very beautiful, with its colorful houses, it actually reminds me of La Boca in Buenos Aires. For those of you who have been there, it's quite nice. It's very beautiful, and also they have, I believe, one of the best views of Cape Town. And then again, if you look onto the right hand side, there is a very hidden gem basically. So you actually see one of the replica cells of Nelson Mandela's cell, of which obviously the original, it's actually in Robben Island, which is actually one of the places that I do recommend that you actually do visit, where you get to learn the rich history basically of South Africa. Obviously, when you go to Robben Island, it will be very emotional because it's never a nice history. It's actually the very bad side of our country, but again, this is our history. So there you get to see a little bit of replicas. Again, as you're walking along down the corridor, one thing that you'll also notice actually is that there's quite a lot of actually even before, let's track back. As you walk out, the first thing that you will see actually on your right hand side, you will see actually there is some in some big words. I am not sponsored by them, but I'll just mention them, like your MTNs and your Vodacom. So those are some of actually our big communication networks that you'll find in South Africa. So basically now, the first things first, obviously, the moment you land in the country is that you want to get connected. You want to tell your families and your friends that, hey, you've arrived. You want to take those selfies and send it to them. Obviously, Cape Town International Airport has free Wi-Fi for you to connect. And also, if you're a student and you actually use EduRoam, the Cape Town International Airport actually does connect to EduRoam too, so you'll still be connected. But obviously, the moment you leave the vicinity of the airport, you'd like to make calls to people, you like to text people, and that's where now these networks come in handy. Is that the moment you come in, then actually you can go and get your SIM card, and then you load it basically with what we call airtime or your minutes, so that you could be able to use your cell phone the moment you leave the vicinity of the airport. So that way you can be connected throughout while you're touring the city. Okay, now let's move along back to where we were. So as walking outside the corridor, if you are hungry or if you're thirsty and you just want to catch your breath, after a long flight, we do have some local restaurants which are situated. It will be on your left-hand side or your right-hand side, depending on which way you're looking at them. There you can actually grab a bite and get to taste some South African cuisine. Okay, now that you've walked onto the main foyer actually of the Cape Town International Airport, you'll see actually right in the middle you do have the information desk. So one is actually situated at the bottom, obviously, and then the other one upstairs. Now, if you're not familiar actually with how most typical airport designs are, Cape Town International Airport is actually one good example of that, where you have all your departures, actually, your departure desk are situated upstairs. So on the literally on the above floor. So whenever that you arrive at the airport, obviously you'll be climbing up an off ramp, and then your taxi cab or your Uber or your car actually that you came in with, you'll be dropped upstairs. That's where all your departure lounge are situated at the Cape Town International Airport. And also the departure lounges, you will have also some restaurants that are also situated there just before you take your flight. And the nice thing about them is that most of them actually you get to get the view of the apron. And if you're lucky, you might actually catch a few planes, coming in for a landing, or actually for some doing a takeoff. Cape Town International Airport has actually been voted for a number of years now as not only the best airport in the country, but the best airport in the continent. And as you can see, it's a very nice, simple design, literally, and also very efficient. It's the coolest, and the views that you get here are also great. And therefore, and just like that, this is a brief introduction to you to the Cape Town International Airport. And I'll actually like to leave you with a question, basically, and I'd like to hear from you. If you've flown to Cape Town or you're planning to come to Cape Town, which airport actually are you coming out from? And which other airports do you think actually are some of the best airports that you've ever actually experienced? I know mine, obviously it's Cape Town International Airport. And please do not forget to like, and also please subscribe to this channel. It's fairly new, so basically I need your help, not only actually just to grow the channel, but to actually to try and help more people. And also if you do actually have any questions that you might have, especially about Cape Town and the area, I'm willing to help. So I'll also stick around in the comments to answer any other questions that you might have right there. So see you on the next one.